More than ever now, people are dreaming about moving to Spain. Sun, beach days, outdoor living, and healthy food. But is it really as cheap as people say it is? In this video, we're gonna break down our monthly expenditure, and some of these costs will shock you. To make it easy, we are going to break it down into 7 categories: housing, bills, living essentials, transport, lifestyle, health, and taxes.
We are renting at the moment, and we have been doing so for the last 4 years. But let me tell you something, it is extremely difficult to find long-term accommodation in Spain in today's environment. But once you find accommodation, you are secure for 5 years because the landlord cannot increase your rent by over 2% at least until the 31st of December 2027. By then, the law will change, but will also be approximately around 2 to 3% increase. When we first got the apartment, we were paying 950 euros a month, and now we are paying 1,000 euros a month. But we get a 2-bedroom apartment, 2 bathrooms, a large living room, a large terrace as well, so it's lovely for the summer days to sit outdoors. But also, we are in a massive development, and these kind of developments are very popular here in Costa del Sol. We have 8 swimming pools, we have tennis court, basketball, badminton, we have a gym, we have a sauna, we have lots of facilities. But obviously running that costs a lot of money, and that's what we call the service charge. The service charge is normally paid by the landlord, but for our development it's 240 euros a month. If you own the property, you will have to pay those 240 euros a month on top of your mortgage. So as rental people, we don't really need to worry about that, but many places will be a lot cheaper and some other places will be more expensive. It depends on the size of the development, on the size of the facilities your development has or your flat has. To give you another example, my mother lives in a block of flats in Cadiz, and she pays for her community fees around 70 to 80 euros a month. And there are also another 2 extra payments for associated with the housing we don't need to worry about as being tenants. One of them is the IBI, which is Impuestos sobre Bienes de Inmueble. Well, what does that mean? If you are from the UK, that is similar to the council tax, and that basically means that the city hall collects money from the property owner on an annual basis. It all depends on the size of the property, the condition of the property, the location of the property, and also the age of the property. So it varies. It could be as little as 100 euros a year and over 2,000 euros a year. And another related cost to housing is the rubbish tax. That could be associated with the landlord, or it could be passed on to the tenants. In our case, it's the landlord who pays for it, but you have to look in the contract to make sure the rubbish tax is something you have to pay for. It's something around between 50 to 200 euros a year, so it's not that much, but that rubbish tax, basically, they clean the streets, they collect the rubbish in your neighborhood. But the concept of council tax, especially if you're from the UK, and we lived 18 years in the UK, and every month we had to pay, depending on the size of the property as well, 120, 150, and we haven't lived in the UK for a few years now, but our friends have told us that has increased a lot. So having to pay another £200 a month for your council tax, that's another cost. And in the UK, it's the tenant who has to pay for it. Here in Spain, it's actually passed on to the landlord. But let's talk about the rent today. In 4 years, a lot has changed. Just to give you an example, as we said before, we got our apartment for 950 euros 4 years ago. Now, that very same apartment in the same complex is around 1,500 euros. And that's the average of the area where we are in Costa del Sol. You can go as little as 900 euros for a nice, decent apartment, up to even 3,000 euros a month if you want to be on the front, the beach, in Marbella. But you might be wondering now, is that the rule just in Costa del Sol or is all over Spain? It's basically the rule all over Spain. It's becoming very, very expensive. And I would say the average for a 2-bedroom apartment is around 1,000 to 1,500 euros a month. Of course, the closer you are to the coast, the more expensive it's going to be. But the more inland, outside the stressed areas, you're going to find more affordable accommodation. But let's talk about owning a property. If I was to buy a property today, let's say a good decent property in Costa del Sol, for example, would be 300,000 euros. That's what I would pay in Costa del Sol for a 2-3 bedroom apartment. after paying your deposits, the taxes you had to pay, I will end up paying the same amount of mortgage that I'm paying on rent, because at the moment the interest rate is around 3 to 4%. It's not as high as you see in the UK and the US. And you might be wondering, why don't you buy a property then? Property prices in Spain, especially in the more stressed areas like Costa del Sol, Valencia, Madrid, Balearic, Barcelona, they have increased a lot. When we first arrived in Costa del Sol, the type of property we were after, it was approximately 300,000 euros. Now, in 2026, that same type of property that we desire is over 500,000 euros. So just in 4 years, it's almost double its value.
You have the housing sorted out. Now let's talk about monthly bills. First of all, we don't have gas in our apartment. It's electric only. And we pay roughly about 70 euros a month because our apartment is flooded with light, natural light throughout. And for 2 people, we pay about 70 euros a month. Keep in mind, we work from home and we watch a lot of telly as well. So 70 euros a month, that is not a bad cost, but that changes in July and August when we have to use aircon. And during those months, it's about 110 euros per month because it gets really hot in the apartment. And it's the same in the months of January and February because it does get really cold here as well. Especially now in Spain, most of the housing, they have marble flooring like we have here in Malaga next to the beautiful cathedral. So it does get very cold, and during that month as well, we pay January and February bill is about 110, 120 euros a month. When the sun is out in winter, a lot of times it's much warmer outside than it is inside. One piece of advice though, our bill did go up last year by a lot, but we looked around on the internet like we used to do in the UK, go onto comparison websites, and we swapped or switched our supplier. And now we're paying more or less the same price that we were paying 2 years ago. So make sure whenever your bills go up, look around, shop around and swap. Our water bill is very low though, maybe because our development has a huge water reservoir and it also does provide to nearby developments as well. So we pay about 12 euros a month, which is very good. But Julian's mother, she lives in Cadiz, she pays about 40 euros a month. But her bill also includes rubbish collection that Julian was talking about earlier. Let's talk about internet now, because I know a lot of you, like us, rely on a strong internet as we work from home. Now, recently, we got a very good deal from Movistar, one of the biggest suppliers in Spain, which includes 2 mobile lines, super fast 1 gigabyte internet, TV channels including movies and football. As you know, FIFA World Cup is coming up. We pay 45 euros a month for a 12-month contract. After that, the price is going to jump up. We know that. But you can always swap or remove some non-essential bits like football that we don't watch or movies. Now, we do love watching telly and we pay a few subscriptions. We got Netflix top package and we pay for that 20 euros a month. We have Amazon Prime, but here's the deal. Amazon Prime here, including the free delivery, is about 50 euros a year. That is amazing. And we also have Apple One subscription, which includes Apple Music for all family, Apple Storage and Apple TV, as well as exercises for me, which is very important. For that, we pay 35 euros a month. If you're from the UK, there's a good news. There's no council tax here. But if you're a landlord, you do pay a couple of charges, which is service charge and EB, which Julian has mentioned before. And we do pay home and content insurance, and for that, it's 120 euros a year.
Now to a very hot topic that creates a lot of debate, because there is a huge misconception that supermarkets, grocery shopping in Spain is one of the cheapest in Europe, and they couldn't be more wrong. When we first moved to Spain 4 years ago, we used to pay almost half to what we pay right now. Even to the point we had to swap our favorite supermarket, Mercadona, because the prices just kept going up and up. Mercadona used to be the local supermarket with very affordable pricing, but it's not anymore. And we swapped to Carrefour because Carrefour has a more affordable offering, and also they have the loyalty program, which we really like because we collect points and every 3 months we get a 30 to 50 euro voucher, which really helps. You also have supermarkets like Aldi and Lidl, which you'll find in the rest of Europe, and they're the more affordable options. But we're sticking with Carrefour because we like the taste, we like the pricing. We used to pay around 250 euros when we first moved to Spain 4 years ago. We used to buy the usual chicken, meat, pasta, olive oil, extra virgin olive oil. We do buy a lot of cakes though, but we don't really buy alcohol. And we normally cook fresh meals with fresh vegetables. But seriously, now we pay on average around 400 to 500 euros a month. That's double the cost we used to do just 4 years ago. And when we compare the pricing, we used to live in the UK, as you know, for 18 years. So it's in our DNA that we had to compare the prices we used to pay in the UK to the prices we pay now in Spain. And I think the prices are very similar. Even though the salaries here in Spain are lower, the prices of the supermarket, the groceries are very similar. However, the quality of the food here in Spain, you cannot beat that. But because we love eating so many cakes, we really need to hit the gym every day. And one of the good things about Costa del Sol is that most developments, they include a gym. So for us, for example, within the monthly cost of the rent, we can go to the gym as many times as we want, completely free of charge. However, for those cases where you don't have a gym in your development or in your local flats or in your home, you're going to have to find a gym, a local gym for you to go and hit it. So when you go to the beach, you have a good body and you can show it off. Average prices for gym in Spain is between 20 to 50 euros, depending if they are basic gyms with just basic machines, or you want a more in-depth gym with classes, with someone teaching you what to do, how to use the machines, etc. But being in Spain, with a lovely weather that we have, lovely sunshine, beaches, parks, promenades, you can actually save that money if you wanted to and go and exercise at the beach. Because if you notice in some beaches in Malaga, in Cadiz, they have an outdoor gym so you can do exercises and you see lots of people there. Or you can do jogging, you can do cycling. We actually made a video of how to cycle in Marbella and Costa del Sol. And that's a good way to keep fit and to lose weight and also to enjoy the outdoors. So in my opinion, if we didn't have a gym included in our rent or in our development, I would probably do exercises outdoors. And also, you not only want your body to look good in the beaches of Spain, you also need to have a nice haircut, a nice hairstyle. And Aslam and I specifically Aslam, is very specific with haircuts. He only wants to go to one of the best ones in all Estepona and Marbella. And we go to a very good one in Estepona, and we pay 20 euros a head. And we normally go to a haircut at least once a month. So that will add 40 euros a month for haircuts.
Now, this could turn out to be the biggest expense for yourself. Schools. If you have children, you have three choices: public, semi-private or concertado, or completely private. Now, most of the schools in Spain are public schools and they are free of cost. You don't have to pay anything, but they are in Spanish language. So if you've got young children, young kids, it would be a good idea to put them in Spanish school and they can absorb the language like a sponge. The next option is concertado or semi-private. Most of the concertado schools, they are religious schools, but they are also bilingual. So that is a great transition because you have semi-Spanish and semi-English. And they cost around between 150 euros to 500 euros a month. And finally, let's talk about the private schools. There are lots of options, especially in places like Costa del Sol, Madrid, Barcelona. In Costa del Sol, we have English private schools, we have American system, we have Swedish system, we have all kinds of systems available to choose from, and they're not cheap. The prices you can expect from 900 euros to 1500 euros a month. When you move to Spain, you don't want to be locked in. You want to explore the beautiful land around you, from hidden beaches to that restaurant on top of the village. But how to get around? You can get around by your car, public transport, or a taxi. For us, a car is essential because we live in the middle of mountains and the nearest bus stop is an hour's walk away. As you know, we travel a lot for YouTube videos, and also Juli's family live in Cadiz. So we travel to Cadiz about twice a month to bring these weekly videos. For us, car is essential. And now let's talk about petrol. With the current government subsidy, it's about €1.56 per litre. We do have a very economical car, and we do between 1,000 to 1,500 kilometers per month. It costs us about 110 euros per month. We use Repsol and Moeve petrol garages, which they do have loyalty programs, and it's about 8% they give you in the loyalty card. In terms of car insurance, we pay 500 euros a year, which is really good because in the UK we were paying nearly more than double for that. And that includes comprehensive insurance with the excess of only 200 euros. We pay roughly about 10 euros per month on tolls, MOT and road tax about 40 euros each per year. In terms of parking, we have now started to find on-street parking just off the centers of the towns. But for busy areas, you can expect about 2 euros per hour for parking. And one thing I was really surprised about when we moved to Spain is that second-hand cars, they're quite expensive. And that's why a lot of people, they tend to buy brand new cars as they don't have to pay MOT and other charges in the first 3 years. What about if you don't own a car? Or there are quite a few places where you don't even need a car. And public transport in Spain is actually quite cheap. In fact, the government actively supports public transport. We went to Madrid last month and I was quite shocked by the public transport prices for metro. For 10 journeys, it was €7.50. That's less than €1 per journey. And for a city like Madrid, it was amazing. Here in Malaga, depending on the length of your journey, metro costs about €2 on average. And buses cost the same as well. But in Cadiz, if you have a bus pass, it's only 40 cents per journey. Every now and then we take a taxi, and for our nearest town, Estepona, it's about 15 minutes journey. Off-peak costs about €12. And if you want to go to Malaga, which is an hour's drive, it costs about 70 to 80 euros.
Let's be honest, if you move to Spain, it's because you want to enjoy the lovely sunshine, you want to enjoy the lovely atmosphere, the vibe that we have here in the beautiful country of Spain. And one of the things you're going to be doing a lot is going out. So that's a very important expense in your monthly budget. Aslam and I, on average, we go out for dining once a week. We normally spend around 50 to 70 euros for the two of us. We normally have a starter, main, couple of drinks, and a dessert. So it's not really that much because we don't really go to the tourist traps. We go to the local hidden gems that locals go to, and it's delicious. And in my opinion, the best quality ones. But then we also go out regularly to the cinema at least once a month because we love movies. And we go to our local cinema in Marbella, and we spend around 10 euros per person per ticket, and then a rather 10-15 euros for popcorn and drinks because you cannot go to the cinema without popcorn. So we spend roughly between 30 to 35 euros going to the cinema every month. But then also we love going shopping. We go to Cañada Shopping Center, Marbella, as you know, and we love to go to Zara and all these places to look good in our videos. And on average, we go and spend approximately around 100 euros a month. When I say shopping, that also includes home furniture. If we need like bedding, or if we need like cutlery, or we need glasses. But also, at least once a year, we like to go on holidays and explore Spain because we want to get to know Spain, not just for us, but also for you guys. So we like to go on holidays, explore, get the knowledge. And at least once a year, we go to a destination in Spain. Last year, we went to Ibiza. And this year, we haven't decided yet. So probably you can share with us some ideas of where to go. But including plane, accommodation, food, socializing, we spend for the two of us approximately 1,000 euros a year.
One of the things that people love about Spain is its healthcare system. It is one of the best in Europe. Locals do complain as the waiting times are getting longer. And in Spain, you have two options. You can either go for public healthcare system or private healthcare. Public healthcare system is free. But how much does a private health insurance cover cost? I have a private health insurance, which I took out 5 years ago. I started off by 65 euros per month, and after 5 years, it's come up to 103, 105 euros per month. You have to be very careful about what hospitals do you use. I started going to one hospital and they were using the latest and best gadgets out there, and sometimes they were not necessary, and that has pushed my prices up. In Spain, you cannot change your health cover during the policy term, at least until the anniversary. I'm going to change mine this year and look for a cheaper one. What about life insurance? I was allowed to keep my UK life insurance since I took out when I did not intend to move to Spain. And for the same amount of cover, when I took a court in Spain, it was 30 euros compared to 20 euros per month I'm paying for the UK insurance. But here's the thing, the Spanish insurances, they do health checks yearly and change the price according to that every year. The insurance I got from the UK, the price does not change till the policy end date. So just like health insurance, you can start with 30 euros per month and end up paying a lot more after 5 years or 10 years.
Now to the most painful part of the video, and one of the things I hate the most when I moved to Spain, taxes. There are 3 areas I would like to cover here. First of all is income tax, which is not really a monthly charge as such as when you have bills and etc. But I consider it as a hidden cost because you have an income and then the taxman takes that portion away from you. So it's really a charge. So on average, the more you earn, the more tax you're gonna pay. But on average, it's around 20 to 40%. Aslam and I, we are self-employed, autonomous. So on our profit that we earn, the taxman takes around 20% away from our earnings. It's a big chunk as well. But on top of that, as being autonomous, self-employed, you need to pay national insurance contributions. And we said in our videos before, but I think it's worth reminding you that if you first arrive in Spain and you become self-employed or autonomous, there are helps out there depending on the region that you live. So for example, when Aslam and I became first autonomous a few years ago, we used a help from Andalusia that is Tarifa Plana. So meaning that you will pay a fixed amount in your contributions, national insurance contributions at the time was 85 euros. Now it has risen to 88 euros a month each, regardless of how much you earn. You could earn 10 euros that month, you still have to pay that 88 euros. But then that only is valid for 2 or 3 years in some certain situations. But after that, you're gonna have to pay a lot more. So Aslam and I, by the end of this year, we're gonna have to pay roughly around 300 euros each on national insurance contributions, regardless of how much we earn. That month we could pay 0 euros, but we still have to pay 300 euros each on national insurance contributions. That is a big cost that not many people think about. And also, one of the things that Aslam and I did when we first moved here, tax system and the bureaucracy in Spain is very, very complex. So we hired an accountant to help us with the bureaucracy, the paperwork, to sign up to be self-employed, autonomous. And in the area of Costa del Sol, the average price was around 50 euros plus VAT per person a month. So that's over 100 euros a month for the 2 of us for accountants. But it was very helpful for us to do, especially for the first couple of years. We literally a couple of weeks ago, we ended the services because we are now more familiar with the bureaucracy. We are more familiar now with the paperwork. So we had to save that extra money, extra cash for us to go and travel across the country for Spain and show you this beautiful country. But for the first year or 2, I would advise you to do that, to have an accountant to guide you through it, help you with the paperwork. But once you're confident, once you know how to do it yourself, I would say save that extra cash and save it for the future, or save it to go out and explore this beautiful country that we are doing.
If you add it all together, our expenses for 2 people living in Costa del Sol comes to just over 2,500 euros per month, excluding holidays. As you can see, we don't really splash out, but still, we consider our lives to be very satisfied, especially because we have access to such beautiful outdoors. When we first moved here, we were very careful with our finances. But now, gradually, we are doing more things. But honestly speaking, most of our best memories that we are creating does not cost much or anything at all. I wonder what is the cost of living of Lady Mora. Tell me, where do you live and what is your cost of living? We would love to know and compare. And is there anything that shocked you? Please let us know in the comments. Next week, we will see you from another great location in Spain. Hasta luego!